Salute everybody. Hey, come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome. Happy Saturday. Peace and blessings. Come on in, everybody. Come on in, come on in. Right? Yes, yes. Thank you for being here. Hey, Miss Yo, what's going on, sis? Thank you for always showing up and being present. I saw that you said you were gardening. I'm so jealous. We definitely have to connect on that front because this is perfect weather to do so. And it's beautiful outside. At least today it is. Salute to Writers for Life. Blessings, peace and blessings. God space. Yes, come on in. We got Kelvin H in the house. Salute to you. Salute. Thank y'all. I'm hoping everybody is having a good day today. My day has been super productive and very educational, especially for a Saturday. But I don't know. I don't think it's day specific. I think you should be willing to be educated or to educate others 24/7 if you have the energy and the wherewithal, the knowledge, and all of that, right? So Miss Yotha says, yes, I am. Oh, I gotta see pics. You're gonna have to do some footage and put that and upload it. Okay. Look, just giving a suggestion, right? So come on in, peoples. And as you come in, if you can just tap the like button for me, I would appreciate you. It don't cost you nothing. That's all. That's it. And let's see. I'm trying to do some housekeeping here. If you can just give me a moment. Timo TV, peace and blessings. You said you hear in all caps. I hear you. I feel you loud and clear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Right? So listen, y'all. For those that come in and you're listening to the replay, this is actually a continuance from yesterday's live, a part two. And as you can see in the title, I added Papa Duck, and he is actually my source of reaction today, as well as yesterday. But there was so much information that he was dropping, and so many gems that I had to break this up in two parts because it can be information overload, especially with my commentary. Okay. Me and my drawn out explanations from time to time, but it's how I communicate. So it is what it is. Thank y'all for being patient, and thank you for adapting to my way of communicating and understanding that at the end of the day, I just want to share whatever information I come across that I find valuable to my life and pertinent to me and my loved ones' lives, right? So do me a favor. Hey, Whoopi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings to you, my friend in Netherlands. Yes. Okay, so yesterday we had some technical difficulties with the video, and I ended up having to do an audio. Now I will do it again, but I do want to try to share the screen and see if the audio comes through today. I'm just going to give it a shot and see what happens. I've been trying to figure out what could be the issue as to why sometimes I am not the most illiterate when it comes to technology, but I'm by far not the most literate when it comes to technology. So trying to troubleshoot and do all of that, I just work around it, right? So if you can put a 1 in the chat, if you can hear once I share the screen and start the video, and a 2 if you cannot. I won't waste time. And if you cannot, then I'll just go straight to the audio. So we started, we got like through almost half the video for part 1 yesterday. So if you did not have the opportunity to catch the live or the replay, in order for this to make the total amount of sense that it's supposed to make as a whole in totality for the video, if you can just go back in your leisure and check it out. You can always speed the speed up of the video to kind of get through it a little bit faster. Break it up in parts, however you want to do it, but there's gems and valuable information being dropped from the front to the finish That's that, right? So without further ado, I will go ahead and share the screen. And again, if you can put a one in the chat if you can hear it, and if not, a two in the chat. And I'm gonna go ahead and start playing it.
Women on what I call survival.
Survival mode. I'm gonna say survival mode.
Yeah, they're
Survival
survival
mode.
mode. And
That survival mode is serious.
I'm gonna say this,
Yay, y'all can
because
hear
I
it.
can side with
Good.
some of y'all. I can
Yeah.
really say, like, I understand a lot of women may be afraid to put it all on the line with a dude.
Yeah.
You know, y'all come get together, get a house together, do all this together, and then all. But the thing is, when it comes to a man and a woman, just a black family period, we've been under attack for years, bro.
Yes.
We've been under attack, and we under attack in ways a lot of people don't understand. That's why I tell y'all, this is what we call, or what they call, silent weapons for quiet wars, bro. You think the music that they putting out is uplifting you?
No.
Hell no.
No.
You think they putting Sexy Red out there just for your entertainment? Bro, ain't no other civilization or no other group of people, whether it's Jewish people, whoever, where black people can control the way they women act.
No.
We don't have the power to do it.
No.
We don't have nothing, and they're not gonna lend us their TV stations. They're not gonna lend us none of their magazines, publications, or none of their influencers to paint that narrative.
No.
They gonna make sure that the black woman is looked at as a sex symbol. That's it.
True.
The men, we're gonna be looked at as we can't get along, we don't trust each other.
Yep.
How can we let another group of people that don't look like us control the way we act and don't act?
So there are a lot of layers to this, right? The first thing I want to mention, to reiterate what he's saying, is talking about the sex symbolism, and what the focus is on when it comes to our men and our women, right? And the women are definitely advertised and displayed as sex symbols. And I think social media has been the devil when it comes to facilitating and pushing that continuous narrative, because everything seems to be on the surface, superficial. Nothing seems to be past skin deep. People don't really vet with character, or they don't do it in their proper order. So you have women that are looked at and based off of their appearance initially, right? And then you have, when it's all said and done, then we'll get to the character. Then we'll get and dig, to what do you want out of life, what your morals are, what your belief system entails, the things that we should be asking or having expectations of up front. It's backwards. It's out of order, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, right? And then you have the men that don't really have the respect or garner the respect that is deserved, from other people, as well from each other, within the community, within other men and other black men, right? And so it can be, we can expand this out to different groups, but just for the sake of conversation, I do want to focus on this particular topic when it comes to our brothers of color. And so with that, it's like, the focus is on the wrong thing. The emphasis is on the wrong thing. We're not looking at real life altering considerations. It's always superficial. It's always like, it was said earlier today in Business Live, the entertainment aspect of it has taken completely over, to where you get more engagement, you get more viewership, you get more participation, you get more responses and reactions when it comes to the entertainment or conflict, right? Instead of conflict resolution or educational content. And so, it has to be an intentional decision for us to make the decision to click on and engage, and to be attentive to things that we don't get immediate gratification from. Men get immediate gratification with the eye and the visual when they're looking at the hourglass shape, when they're focusing on the external features of a woman, They haven't even really, as a whole, really thought past that portion of it and wonder why our relationships don't have any substance. And I'm speaking generally, right? The relationships don't have substance because the right portions or the right parts of the relationships are not being vetted. They're not being examined. There's no troubleshooting. There's no conversation or effective communication to be able to sit down and get past the physical attributes to even ask the right questions. And then with social media and the upcoming generation, there seems to have been a disconnect when it comes to communication. They don't know how to communicate. It's awkward. And I didn't hear the term socially awkward when I was growing up. You went outside. You went outside. You were made to communicate and socialize amongst your peers because we didn't have all of this technology, the phones, all of the escapes, the escapisms in my terms of being able to avoid intimate conversations with your peers or with people with humans, right? And so I agree with him on that aspect that, the times that we're living in are different. Now, the other thing that he also mentioned was that there's no other group of people that allows to be governed or to be told or to be educated by someone outside of their culture. Like he said, the Jews, just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just using them, even like the Italians, they are in house. Spanish people are in house. They don't listen or take instruction and outside influence to heart more than within their own community. They'll look at you like you're crazy, okay? Which we should be doing. But again, when you're disconnected from your history, when you're ill informed, you're uninformed, you're underinformed, these are the type of things that come about in the end result when it's all said and done, right? So just to take a moment to welcome, hey, Miss Kodak Black, peace and blessings to you. We got Audrey in the house. Welcome, of course, always. Rachel Banks, great to see you. Hey, lady. All right, Miss Ann. Hello, beautiful. There's that smile. Appreciate you being here. We got Rare Money is in the house. Thank you for being here. Salute to you. Salute to you. And of course, my girl Whoopi again. So let's continue.
That's too much power. But like I say, when you got certain people running the world that's after, your destruction, everything they do on a day-to-day basis is going to absolutely attack that.
Like I always say, a woman will run to the government and give them social security card, social security number, a salary for the month. They give them all the information just to get their help. But if they get a strong, black, comfortable man coming up with the right resources, I don't know.
Yeah, but and sometimes, like I say, I'm not gonna throw them under
Not
the bus.
all of them, but I'm saying.
But we understand at some point,
Yeah.
This is what the government does.
Yes,
they paint that scarcity.
Yes,
the government gonna say, yo, kick him out for to get these amenities.
Yes,
I told y'all the man in the house rule is a real law, like a real rule. If the woman is married or having any type of sexual relations with a man, she is unqualified for these resources. So what that does? What the hell the man got to?
The government has replaced the man in the household, right? And so we have to be mindful that that was by design and that was intentional. So you can work with information that you're given. Now, I understand it's appealing, but like he said, they're going to give you just enough. They're going to give you just enough to keep control. They're going to give you just enough to keep them as being the quote unquote man in the house. They have replaced our men in the house. Again, I'm generalizing and collectively speaking, right? And so when we, embraced again, collectively and generalizing feminism, then we establish the ideology that we don't need a man. And then the government stepped in and had such great timing and was like, oh, yeah, you're right. You don't need a man. All you need are resources. And we are here to provide you with those resources. Now, a lot of women, a lot of single parent homes, some men, not very many though, um, thought that that was the better option. Long term, they didn't think about the effects and the negative effects that having a child in the home or children in the home that don't have a, a, a masculine, a father figure, a father or a man in the home to lead the household and to be a proper provider. um, we didn't, collectively, we didn't think that that was, we didn't, I don't think we thought that far ahead. And if we did, we didn't think that that was going to be such a detriment. But then we're generations in now, because this has been going on since I was a kid. It's a lot more prevalent now, but it was still existent when I was a kid. As I've stated before, I was fortunate enough to have both of my parents in my life and in my home until God called them home. And so personally, I have experienced that masculine and feminine balance. But I think that has contributed greatly to me being able to sit in my femininity and to be able to communicate with men and the male species in a proper manner and in order. But when you are only having, you got to overload of female energy and you're raising sons, even with daughters, there's going to be an imbalance. And it's going to be out of order, and I don't really know how else to explain it, right? Hey Candyman, hey El Boogie, thank y'all for coming in, appreciate you. Keisha, yes, peace and blessings to everybody. So what we're doing is we're just kind of, to do a brief recap, I'm doing a reaction to Papa Duck's video. Now, yesterday, this is a part two today. So the first part was yesterday. If you haven't caught the replay, please go and review it. And the topic is the Legalese system, and he branches out to relatable context, that all ties in together. But he starts out with saying that there's a whole nother language that we are not taught as a people. And that we don't understand, and it's by design, from the court system to the words that have power, recognizing privilege with, things such as driving. I was always told that, and I was taught that driving was a privilege, not a right. And so I didn't realize how profound that was. I knew it was profound, but it was broken down to me later, in later years, of course, in its proper context, as to just how that came about and the message that it was sending, and how applicable it is in other areas as well, right? And so, right now, like I said, we're doing a part two, and he's branching off into male and female roles, relationships, and the role that the government is and has been playing, right? So let's continue.
Do with them helping.
Yes.
Once you get the man out the way, the family can be compromised.
Yes.
You ain't, and like I always use this, as I say, the gorilla, you ain't worry about the baby gorilla, the mama gorilla, you worry about the daddy gorilla. So once we get the dad out the way, the family can be compromised. And if you see the statistics of, no shade now, we just talking. If you see the statistics of a man raising a child versus a woman raising a child, it's a big difference. And it goes back to what's in our DNA. Women have estrogen, men have testosterone.
Yes.
You got what I'm saying? So, of course, we're gonna be a little rougher, a little harder.
Yeah.
Women gonna bring that love.
Yeah.
But in this society, it's just that rough and tough. It'll succeed the love at some degree. Right. Because too much love, like I say, man, too much of anything ain't good.
Yes.
But statistically, men raise children better than women. And
and that has to do with, in my opinion, I feel like a lot of that has to do with the discipline and the authoritative stance that the father normally takes and naturally takes with the children, right? Children, see, I truly believe, because I lived it, right? I respected my father more than my mother because he demanded it. His presence, without him having to say it or convince me that he was due respect, it was automatic. His presence let me know, or his expression, the commandment in his voice when he talked to me, everything that he said was important, because I knew when he spoke, it was intentional. And there was a message, a directive, or a lesson that was, it was intentional. And so he was very deliberate when it came to teaching me things. And so it just goes with the energy, the territory, and the natural order of things. Now, with my mother, I was totally different. I would try her, push her, test her. I always challenged the boundaries that she set, because by nature, women are nurturers. We are not the providers. We are not naturally the disciplinarians. So some of it, now I have sons, and my sons respect me. But because I had that masculine energy in my life, my father taught me how to accept discipline and how to deliver discipline. Now, in no way do I feel like I am a good substitute for a father, because my youngest son's father, my oldest son is grown, but my youngest son's father is very active in his life. We co-parent. We see eye to eye when it comes to the well-being of our son. And I understand the importance and the benefits of him having his father in his life, no matter what our personal relationship, the status of that became or has become. But we do have an understanding and the mutual respect that we want our son to have a very balanced upbringing to the best of our abilities. Collectively, whether he's in the home or not, I don't impede with his disciplinary measures. I allow him, and I know that sounds kind of bad, but I make room for him to be a father without my interference, unless he asks for it, right? Because there has to be a distinction between the two, right? And Miss Yotha says, the fathers have the voice that commands respect. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that cannot be denied. And if you deny it as a female or a male, either you don't know no better or you just don't want to admit it, right? So let's continue.
I say we could argue back and forth about that, but you could research that yourself.
Men do. Uh, I think men do because men trying to let kids understand like out here in this world as you get older, because especially a black man, and no shade on nobody, but it's
Yeah, no
harder for
shade,
us.
no shade.
See, I tell young youth all the time, you're a young black man. Once you mess up out here, it's hard because we ain't got nobody to help us.
Hell
We the only
no.
culture ain't got no help out here.
Another word. I'm glad you
You
said
know,
that.
you know.
I'm glad you said that. It's a word, and if you follow me, you know what this word is. The word is called Silvator Mortis, and it goes by what you just said. What that means? That means, right? Once you become a convicted felon by law, you're a dead man.
Yes.
You know what that means? Once you become a convicted felon, which they got so many booby traps out here, from music, influence, all the above, to coerce you to be a convicted felon. Once you become a convicted felon, by law, you're a dead man. You can't compete.
Yes.
You can't even, your family need to be, you need to protect them. You can't bear arms.
No.
You can't get this job. You can't put your name on a lease. I know people right now that been living in the house and they find out there's a convicted felon in the house, homeowner association kick their ass out.
Right on the streets.
You is set up from the get up. And I tell black people this all the time. This world ain't created, or the people in it, they're not creating a construct for you to survive.
Survive, succeed, any of that. It is absolutely designed for you to stay in your place so you can continue to grow their power and wealth. So if you don't have any rights, then you can't make any decisions that matter, right? So that's why the laws are constructed the way that they are. And like, disputably and arguably, there are some laws that I don't feel should be felonious, right? Or considered as felons, to where all of your rights are stripped after you do your time, right? So there's no redemption in the eyes of this government, or in the eyes of the system that we're living in. There's no redemption. So when you come out, like he said, you're considered a dead man because you have no voice. You have no ability to, and your words don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. Your influence does not matter. It garners disrespect unspoken. It does not have to be announced. It just goes with the territory, right? And so it is by design. It wasn't, and he said it right. We were not meant to survive. I said yesterday in my live that people of color are able to take a very small minuscule of opportunity and create an entire culture with that small minuscule of opportunity. And the powers that be recognize that, and they know it. And that's why they're always keeping their feet and their foots on people's necks. They don't want you to get that small opportunity. That's why the lack of education, the lack of information is so rampant, because it's by design as well. More information you have, the more opportunity and resources that you have available to you. And they don't want that because they know what the capabilities are. And another thing, and I always, in the source of my lives, I am always emphasizing and advocating for family unity, period, point blank, because that's where the strength is, and that's always going to be my default. Because being in from a home where I had that, and then raising a son with a broken home, with a lack of a better term, I see the difference in the outcome. And that's total transparency. It is what it is. Me and millions of other children that are raising or have raised children in one parent or single parent households. That's why I'm also an advocate for co-parenting. But it takes understanding. It takes for you not to be selfish. It takes for you not to be narcissistic. And it takes for you to look at the welfare of that child, and to take yourself out of the equation, and be willing to make sacrifices in order to garner a good result, or a well balanced child that is able to compete, navigate in this thing we call the world that we live in. Because you're already at a disadvantage just by the color of your skin, in this system, right, that we live in. So let's continue.
Everything is against you to the point we hate each other and don't even know why.
You don't know why.
Simply because we do not control the environment. You got niggas that kill you over a block they ain't even got their name on.
Nope.
The paperwork. You feel me? They let other people from coming here from other countries own it. It's people in China own more real estate than you. You've been here your whole life. I told y'all, China done took over Jamaica.
What?
China done took over to the point they
What?
finna put, if they ain't did it yet, they starting to put Mandarin, which is a Chinese language, in the school system. They the one built the road, the toll road that go through the whole island. The toll road. They building these big hotels. Come on, bro. They taking over. China took over Jamaica, bro. And if you don't,
And I'm gonna say this, like, I've been following Bolo's page, and he's been doing a lot of lives on the political unrest and the civil unrest that is really prominent in Jamaica. And it's actually enough that he's doing most of his lives emphasizing and isolating the politicians, right? And even though they're not the all be all, and their decisions, it seems on the forefront like they're really making decisions, but we pretty much know they are not when it's all said and done. The fact of the matter is it makes sense because civil unrest is going to come when you have outsiders come in and dominate, take over, and transition their power, right? And just pretty much take dominion over Jamaica. So that's a whole nother topic with a whole nother rabbit hole that we can kind of go down. But that's for another time. And please go sub up to Bolo if you haven't already, or go at least watch his lives regarding Jamaica, and it will bring, actually, because if it's happening there, it's only a matter of time before it starts to filter in other jurisdictions and areas, including our country. The Americans, we are not exempt from everything that's going on in other parts of the world, right? And so, with that being said, let's continue. Welcome to anybody new that's coming into the room, into the chat. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. I appreciate you.
Notice, bro, when you come to Jamaica, right? For the first, I think 4-5 years, Chinese people don't get taxed as much. But when them 4-5 years up, they just switch out one person, bring one person in. Why is that? Why is Jamaica owed China so much money? I told y'all, bro. You have to understand you got sellers and buyers, bro.
Bro, there's lots of
When you
people don't
break
know.
this shit down, you
A lot
got
of people don't know.
sellers and buyers.
A lot of people don't
We
know.
as black people,
Wow.
we are buyers.
Buyers.
Everybody can't be sellers.
And that is why we have the most buying power, and we have the most money circulating because of the buying power, but own very little, if anything. And it's because you have, like he said, you have two groups of people. You have your buyers and you have your makers. What plants do we own? What factories do we own? What institutions do we run to teach our children? What grocery stores do we own that are thriving and in percentage? What banks that run the money, the financial institutions? There are a few, but they're not spread wide. And that to me is a mouthful. And that tells me everything that we need to know as far as buying power. I know some years ago, and it happens like, maybe every 7 to 8 years, there'll be a buzz amongst the Black community and usually it's around election time, if I remember correctly, where there would be discussion about us boycotting businesses and just selecting one day out of a year, just 365 days, if we could come together collectively as a people for one of those days out of 365 days a year and don't patronize anybody else's businesses but our own. And if we don't have neighboring businesses that we can patronize and support, then don't spend any money for that day. And we don't seem to have the ability to be able to come and collectively agree for that one day all across the board. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I mean, it's a lot to process, because it's like, to me, that's telling. We can't seem to come to a simple agreement, because if we did that, if we united for just one day, the economy there would be such a ripple effect off of that one day, and it would show not just the powers that be or the businesses that we patronize how much power and money and support, if withdrawn, it would crumble their economy. But it would also show and reinforce the power of our people that we truly have. But we can't seem to get it together to come and unite for one day in order to just say, okay, what if they don't look like us, or if they don't if they're not Black businesses, we're not supporting you for this one day. And to me, that would be a whole new testimony and a whole new chapter in a book instead of all the chapters looking pretty much the same. When are we going to learn, right? Miss Yo said that she saw that a few years ago on Kwame's panel. I mean, and then there were people like I would go around and say something to, people that I felt comfortable around, and the reactions were surprising. Some people got offended. You're like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not going in. What's the point in that? That don't mean nothing. We ain't got nothing no way. Well, then we have to start somewhere, y'all. We have to start somewhere. So anyway, I digress. I just think it was worth mentioning, and it's a great idea. And I think it would have more impact and reach far and wide, a lot more than we give it credit. We just don't know our power. We don't know our power or our powers, not just financially, but just in other areas as well. We don't know who we are. And I kept saying yesterday, you don't know who you are if you don't know where you come from. And it's so simple, but too profound. And it just every day we're living it, right? So El Boogie says, how can rich people problems not be ours? That's one way to get rich. Learn what they have to deal with. Facts. Facts. And then your preceding comment was, we just seen Kanye rob for his patents, and now black people's clowning him at his problems are for the rich. I wasn't aware of that, but it's not surprising, because who do you think gives the patents? We don't give ourselves the patents. They're issued to us, right? By the people that control everything. So that's sad, but it's the reality we live in. And until we do something different, we're going to keep yielding the same results. And that's just that. All right, y'all, let's proceed.
So they have to condition us in ways to be materialistic. They have to make our women want this, our men want that. Yeah. Why you think tell me this? How is it that they can come sign our children, give them $100,000 and pay them to rap about killing our own people, bro? And the only reason this shit happens because us as black people, we have no synagogue, we have no type of hub or some type of, something that's consolidated to where we got enough power to say, if you do that, we're gonna stop doing this. Kanye West get his ass beat all the time simply because we don't have the power to help him. They do. Soon as he get out of line, get what they do. Shut this off, shut that off, shut this off. Even their own people. This is how they control things and regulate things. No man is bigger than the next man. If you feel like you're bigger than the rest of us, just like on the Italian movies, you can't just kill somebody and not get approval from the boss. You can't just go whack somebody because you feel like it. It's consequences. We as black people, we don't own shit. And I told you, when you don't own nothing, you don't control nothing. You are a participant in this game.
Sad but true, true but sad, right? So that El Boogie was right spot on, because Papa Duck just mentioned Kanye, right? And how they when he fell out of line. And yesterday when I was talking in my live, Papa Duck was saying you are able to reap the benefits of the privileges of this country as long as you follow the rules of their constitution and you are up under the umbrella of the constitution. So as soon as you step out of line for those who control, like he said, something, then guess what? You don't have any power. You have no power on anything. Just like they gave it to you, they can take it away from you to send a message, not just to you, but to those that are observing you, your rise and fall of your legacy and your level of wealth and your level of impact and reach, right? And so it's, but again, without unity, that man is on his own, because we don't own nothing. And that's just the bottom line. And I when I was at Business Live today, it just kept resonating in my spirit. I'm so glad that he is, being consistent and passionate about at least providing and sharing the information that he has been able to benefit and bless himself and his family with far and wide, whether people appreciate it, want to take the advice or not, or at least watch his journey and agree to disagree or not, right? And so it starts somewhere. It starts somewhere. And like he said during his live, if you've got 3 or 4 people that you impact, or that you are able to influence them to at least take baby steps and to shift their mindset, to start that part of the journey so that they can yield the benefits, the same benefits that he and his family are yielding, then that's a beginning. But as long as we keep just dragging each other down, all of this beefing and fighting, being so super sensitive about shit that don't matter at the end of the day, about things that don't hold any weight, and succumbing to all of the distractions that are constantly put before us. And when you got now, I remember there was a time that the rich or the wealthy or the entitled had cell phones or beepers. It started out in my generation as beepers, right? And then it became the real big, heavy gray cell phones. And then they started to slim down. And then we had the flip phone. And then all of a sudden it became available to more and more people. And now we got babies that got iPads. So they're catching the children coming out the womb, being able to absorb this information in that brain that's a sponge that's absorbing every external stimuli being presented, and it's molding them based off of the external stimuli and the visuals that are coming off of these devices, to where parents aren't even raising their own kids anymore. It's the system raising our children, and we wondering why we having all these issues, right? Hey Bolo, welcome. Yes, yes. Hey babes. Hey babes. Let's continue.
You have to understand that you have nothing consolidated. We don't have no factories. We don't have nothing to say, if y'all treat us like this, we gonna stop doing this. How? When we don't own nothing. That's why we don't got a seat to the table.
All we talk is go get money.
Of course.
Hard-working man. That's
Even
another
that's
trick
flawed.
too. That's another trick, the hard-working man.
Know what they saying about a hard-working man?
Hard-working man.
Work to the sweat of your brow.
But
that's slavery. Listen, that's slavery talk.
So my thing of that is, the hard-working man, right?
Yeah.
The man who own a company, what he doing?
Sitting on his ass.
So how he working hard?
He not.
So the ones out there in the field
working for the ones that's in the office, in the house. Yeah.
But he got everything in control.
Facts. Then you go
because he's got the power. He's got the ownership. He's got the control. He's the one that makes the decisions. So of course he can sit back and kick his feet up and appoint others to micromanage his business or his affairs. He don't have to do nothing. There's a correlation between ownership and being able to do what you want, and influence and power. There's a correlation for all of that, y'all. And there's a chain of command, right? But you have to own something in order to be able to exhibit those characteristics and exercise those privileges, right? I don't have to really say nothing else on that. So let's continue.
Always had this one black person on your job. Uncle Tom. Well, I ain't gonna say Uncle Tom because Uncle Tom won the bad thing. See, that's another thing. See how I had to catch that because I was taught that Uncle Tom was totally opposite than what they told us. Do your research on it. That's my fault. I apologize for that. But you're gonna always have this one black person on the job that think he run everything. He run out. You feel me? So what I'm telling y'all is this, bro.
Funny you said it, right? Because I was on my job before, right? Like that, right? And it's like, dang, bro. You want to be all this and all that. You know, not nobody's job. The more you know, the more they take advantage of you.
Of course.
But they give you a little bit like dating carrots.
They dangling the carrot.
And you know, one guy who want to go over here, go over there.
Dangling the carrot.
And they get what? You mean nothing to them.
And they give you just enough to maintain, but not to prosper. right? So you'll keep coming back. I remember one of the primary incentives to actually, because our grandparents, or my grandparents and great grandparents, they were self sufficient. They owned their own businesses. Their money was made in house, or they were able to self sustain their families by growing their own food, buying their own land, knowing different trades to sustain the structures on their land, not having to subcontract for people on the outside to come in where the money goes out of the community, right? Or if it did, they look like them, right? So when I say that, there's power in that. And now it got to a point where the corporations and the companies started to grow, and they had to give you an incentive in order to want to go work for them and deal with them and the chain of command and being told what to do and subpar working conditions, and take it out, the power out of the household. And so they started providing things like dental insurance, health insurance, 401ks, retirements, things that really sounded appealing at the time, but it would be under the construct that these people would, that they had your best interests at heart, when they never did. It was just like he said, it was dangling that carrot in front of your face. And it was right in front of your face, so you couldn't see any further out. And the only focus that you had was right there in front of your face, right? So you couldn't see around it. You couldn't see anything long term. You didn't know what to anticipate because, like I said, the forefathers, they cultured their own families, their own structures, their own land, and everything was in house. So this was something that was kind of new, but it was presented and marketed in such a way that people could not resist. And it looked more valuable than what they already had, because you had to do the work in order to sustain your own and have ownership. You have to put in the work, and it has to be maintained. Getting it is easier than maintaining it in most cases, right? So let's continue.
Yeah. The biggest scam in the world is a job.
Yes.
Hey, no shade.
But you know what? You say no shade, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, yes, we know 90% of us have to have a job. We understand how the world runs. But it's a joke.
It's a scam.
Because, like you say, you go to a job and you get a job 6-7 days of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like a cup of water. They give you just enough of the month to pour out and fill back up.
Fill back up. And that's the thing. Let's jump on this topic right quick while we talking about that, right? If you a family, right? Let me tell you how brainwashed we are. Like if you follow me, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I always speak about individualism and collectivism. We as a family has been taught from a knee high to be an individualistic person. Okay.
Yes.
Why is it as a family, bro? We got the mama, the daddy, and the 3 kids. That's 5 people. 5 people waking up, going to work for 5 different bosses, having 5 different cars, trying to get 5 different houses. This is what individualism does to people, right? We don't know how to work together. Every other country can come over here, consolidate what they do together, okay? Together, and gain way more than us, but we're taught, I got my own house, but you broke.
I had to stop it. I was trying to let him finish, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. So let me just be transparent here. I encourage my oldest son to stay with me until he's comfortable enough to go out on his own, and until he's equipped with not just finances, but information. So when he does go out there, he doesn't have to go through so much trial and error and spend so much of his life unlearning and relearning, when he can learn it in house. How do you think the other cultures prosper and grow their generational wealth? They keep it in house. It's personal business and business together. You're dealing with a conglomeration within the 4 walls with the most important people in your lives, and that's your blood and your immediate family. we seem to be the only ones that don't get it. We tend to look at success as being able to go out there and do it by yourself. Who wants to keep living hard? This is not easy to do that. We make it look easy at times, but it's anything but easy. And it's only, in my opinion, by the grace of God that you're able to maintain it in the world that we're living in without a whole bunch of life altering setbacks, right? There's definitely strength in numbers. It's so simple, but it's super powerful. And he just said, and you know what? The word came to my mind when he was talking about, okay, yeah, so everybody got their own car, they got their own house, they got their own life, they got their own this, they got their own that. Insanity. Why do we need 5 different cars if you got 5 different people in the household driving? What? That's 5 different bills. Even if the cars are paid for, you still have to be maintained. You still have to keep up insurance. There are still separate expenses with gas. It's insanity, in my opinion, but it's by design. And he keeps saying that during this live, that it is by design to keep us weakened, to keep us separate, to keep us individualistic, and to keep us broke and powerless. Because I don't care how good you make it look, how well you dress, what kind of car you drive, it costs you something in order to maintain and keep up that appearance, right? So I wanted to let's take a second here. Miss Yo Thought said our families were taught to live together. Yes, the other cultures have learned that from us. We are a tribal people. Who say that again for the people in the back? Miss Yo, you wonder why I'm always wanting to drop that link. Sis, this is it. So beautifully articulated. I'm gonna read it again. Our families were taught to live together. The other cultures learn that from us. We are a tribal people. Sis, that's super powerful, super powerful. Rare Money said, I didn't move out until I was 24 and we was living good. I think you want to say living good, splitting the bills. Listen, it's less stress on everybody when you have everybody kind of holding everybody else up by doing their own share, by doing their own work, but it's in house. It stays within the family, it stays within the unit, right? And we have to really start to rethink, not just listen to the all of these different voices that are going on between social media, the news, this and that, all of these marketing techniques that these corporations have so sophisticatedly mastered, that they have convinced us that this is how we're supposed to be living, and we wonder why we can't never get ahead, or we wonder why we feel like we're on that hamster wheel, or we feel like in Business Live today, he said if you just go off of a regular savings and you go through the traditional way of saving money, it can take you 15 to 20 years to save up for a down payment that is acceptable in our current times of living for a decent house or a piece of real estate, right? A livable piece of real estate. And so how fast do you think people can save within the household when everybody is on the same accord and have like minds with the same goals and visions ahead? And then you don't have to stress about it because all the weight don't fall on your shoulders. And we wonder why our life expectancy age keeps being lowered. I thank God I don't look like what I've been through, but there are times where my body feels like what I've been through because of the stress and all of the external responsibility that comes with making it look good, even though it's anything but easy, right? Or appealing. Because it ain't nothing appealing about some of the lifestyles that we have and what it takes to maintain that appearance like we got it all together, knowing that we one thread away from falling apart and our entire piece of cloth just disheveling and showing everything that we don't want it to show, right? So let's continue.
Got my
Hey,
own car, but you
Family.
broke.
Yep.
And you don't even own that. You can't
Nope.
never own nothing because you don't have what they call an allodial title. An
What?
allodial,
Elodia. Say it
that's
again, bro.
another word. I guarantee you, if you ask any person that's in real estate what an allodial title is, 9 times out of 10 they couldn't tell you. An allodial title is where you own this property right out from the king. Well, you don't pay no taxes, you don't own that, even above your house, right? You know you own the space above your house, which conflicts with aviation,
Whoa.
with people who flying. They you got to go up higher, right? Not to interfere with your property, but you don't own an allodial title. A allodial title. I'm sorry.
Hey, Papa
No
Dog.
one. Matter of fact, if you in Florida, you can't own an allodial title. Look it up.
Papa Dog. Papa Dog. Hold on, Papa Dog. Papa Dog.
Yeah.
You tell me. Well, Papa Dog. You tell me.
Then you got eminent domain.
People don't own their house.
Hell no. Then you got eminent domain.
So
where the government can come the government can come tear your house down and build a park on that beach.
I was just
So with him saying that, because I went to real estate school and took some classes, right, to become a real estate agent at one point in my life, though I didn't pursue it. I just realized it wasn't for me after I went through and did all the work, right? But what he's saying is basically you don't own nothing. Even if you have a title or a deed, that's just like having a deed to your home that you paid off, or that your parents or grandparents or forefathers paid off, and you inherited that property, right? But if you don't pay the property taxes, the bank comes and takes it. It's still not yours. There's so many loopholes that it's by design that it's not going to be beneficial for you in the end. And what they tell us is subjective. They convince us that. How do you think they convince us to look at the American dream as having a family, a dog, the white picket fence, and a home that you quote unquote own? When, as he said, you don't even, in Florida, you don't even own the air rights above your home, especially when you, in other states, when you are living near an airport. You have to do your research on what is included when you go to buy a home. These HOAs, I had a home in an HOA up until about 4 years ago. You couldn't pay me to become or to purchase another property in a homeowners association, because they can put a lien. You miss a couple payments, or they don't like you, or they got a hair up their butts, and they don't want you there. They will find a way to put a lien on your house. There's just way too many opportunities for people to take it from you, for you to say that you own it. It's just way too many. So no, definitely, the more we know, the more we're educated, the more we can make educated decisions, right? Let's continue.
gonna tell you that, bro. I was just gonna tell you that because I was saying, you know what? I have seen, like, with all the construction going on, right?
Yeah.
People have a property house.
Yeah.
The government make them sell
Buy
a house,
that.
buy that, and
Buy
put a
that.
road right through it.
Run a road right there.
But you own that house.
You don't own it. You don't own nothing.
They ask you first, do you want to sell it or get rid of it? You say no, then I find a way to come take it from you.
Listen, in China, you can only own property for 70 years and you have to give it back. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is,
Hold on.
Yeah, every
What?
country, listen, don't let them fool you.
Wow.
Every country have their own dictatorship. Them bitches all in cahoots, bro. All of them in cahoots. They run their societies the same way. This is not a democracy.
Period. Which hence, and I'm not going to go off into this, but the NWO, the agenda, right? If you know, you know. It just makes sense. It lines up. They're all in it together for the same objective, and that's for power and control, right? I want to focus on, or just highlight Ms. Yo's thoughts when she said, we have become broke people trying to impress broke people. Another form of insanity. But when it's broken down in such layman terms and powerful structure as this, as she has stated, I had to leave it up there because every time I looked at it, I read it, it resonated louder and louder for me. What's the point? Who are we? And then we out here trying to impress people we don't even know. We don't even know that we may never see again walking past in the grocery store or in the mall, trying to impress people that ain't got no more than we got. And we have no I don't know these people. I had to, y'all. Okay, so I digress. Let's continue.
And I did videos on that, and I keep trying to tell y'all, you ask the person right now, bro, what's a democracy? What's the difference between a democracy and a republic? They couldn't tell you. The right now, America, right now, you got students in school right now, 7th, 8th grade, dog, on the 2nd grade read level, homie. They want you to be dumb. Never educate the people you want to dominate. This is not.
Never educate the people you want to dominate. Never educate the people you want to dominate.
A democracy, bro.
True.
All that voting, and you thinking you a part of the decision making. You
No.
thinking you just to leave your job to go down there and vote in that hot ass sun, thinking you finna make a change. If any nigga tell you that voting gonna change anything, slap him in their shit. Get away from them.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of people that look like us that benefits from the government in certain ways.
Facts.
When the city get this kind of money, and they got this grant money, same way they did back in my city in Belgrade, where they got the grant money, and if you a certain age and own a home, you could qualify for $25,000, I think it was, to fix your home up. They ain't told nobody about that shit, but the people who work down there, I bet you they told they people.
Yeah.
I bet they cousins and nephews and aunties, I bet they knew about it. I keep telling y'all, bro, none of this stuff is created to help you as a black person.
True.
None of this voting shit.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
See,
none of this, bro. It
none of
is
that.
not designed for that, brother.
And see,
Period.
and like I said, bro, my biggest problem I have is y'all worry about going to vote, the president, y'all worry about all the big stuff, but your small community, y'all sit there like ain't nothing going on. Y'all worry about the whole state of Florida, the whole state of Alabama, the whole state of Georgia.
Man.
But what about your town, your city? I bet half of
man.
them don't know who the city mayor is.
No, those are facts. And you know what? That's the thing about it, is that a lot of us are finding this out later. I know I did. When I did vote, or when I decided to vote, it was basically for the major elections, not for the local ones. It wasn't until one of my best friends ran for political office on a city level that I realized how impactful and how close to home the decisions affected me from local elections. I remember going to vote one time, and of course, it was for local and the presidency, right? And I didn't know any of the names, and I felt obligated to pick one, and I was like, but I didn't know how detrimental that was, and that was the last time I did that. I educated myself, or I didn't vote. It was just that simple for me at that point, because it is definitely local elections. People just don't understand how important and how life affecting they are. Just if not more important than dealing with, the major elections, right? So Timo TV said eminent domain is a loophole to take away land forcefully and to shut down small businesses in the way. They don't dare try eminent domain to major corporations or big time businesses. Facts. And the reason they don't is because those are the ones that are behind pulling the puppet strings in order to gain and acquire more land through, as you said, the small business owner or the homeowner that is occupying land that they have set their eyes upon to make claim to, right? And so it definitely is a trickle down effect. So thank you for sharing that, because that's facts. Miss Yo Thought says he is speaking straight facts. The government is a corporation. Look it up. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is not, that information is not hard to find, right? Miss Ann says the local elections are the ones that really matter, and it's where you can see that your vote really matters as well. Very well articulated, Miss Ann. That is right on the money. Perfect. Hey, Miss Tasha. Salute, Miss Akimi in chat, catching the replay. I've been watching Papa Duck for a while now, but I do want to hear your perspective. Love the content. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence, whether it's live or the replay or both. So thank you for the view. Thank you for the support and the participation. I appreciate you. So there is we don't have too much longer to go, so hopefully I'm not losing too many people. I'm trying to keep it short and brief, but there is a lot of information here that I feel would be beneficial for people. So if you get to a point where you can't hang, take a break and go watch the replay or come back, because you don't want to miss one of the reasons why I wanted to react to this video. And I don't usually react to the entire video, but he just dropped them from the front to the finish, and everything I felt that he said is worth mentioning, expounding on, and repeating, in my opinion. So let's continue.
Not even that. If you really want to know what's going on in your city, go to a city commissioner meeting.
Yeah.
It'll blow your mind.
Hold on now. If you go there and stand up for what's going right, they'll find the ban you for that.
Call the police.
We done
got kicked out of meetings. We done got kicked out of city commission meetings. Cause you coming in that bit raising sand. Yeah. You're not going with the program, and this is a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
They only gonna elect people that's gonna go with the program.
Yes.
You ain't gonna find one city commissioner meeting or commissioner that's gonna come in there and be for the people.
Yep.
Hell no, they gonna get you out of there. Yeah. Everybody that's fit for the job is fit for the job.
And see, the other thing too is why the taxes getting raised up in the city, the utility bills getting raised up in the city, but the city, but the employers there is getting paid the less out of everybody in the state.
Why is poor people get taxed the most?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, so let me just address this real quick. Yes, Miss Audrey, his channel is Papa Duck. Yes, ma'am. PAPA Duck, and you can put it together with the @ and it should come up. Bolo, thank you. You so sweet out here glowing for. I appreciate you. I'm so glad to see you. I've been missing you. Okay. Yes. So all right. So yes, what he's saying is, you're not going to be able to be an individual and actually and literally advocate for the people and be elected. They don't go together. As we are probably mostly aware that presidents are selected and not elected, it is a falsehood that is given to the people to make it look like it is that the presidents are elected by the people through the voting process. So if the people understood wholly that the presidents were selected, then the voting process would not be as profound, and they wouldn't be able to maneuver and pull all of the BS that they tend to do during what they call the political season, right? And so yesterday in my live, and it's worth repeating, I questioned everything when I became an adult and realized how much we had been lied to practically about everything that we were taught, having to go through the unlearning and relearning process, having to dig out information, use the individualistic thinking to make sense out of what did not make sense. That takes a whole mind shift, a different lifestyle implementation. It requires a lot. It requires a lot of work, a lot of effort. And then if you have children and those children have been a participant or have been the vessel that has been given misinformation, you don't just have to have to try to reprogram or unprogram or unlearn and relearn. Now you have to convince those children to be able to trust you like they did with the original lies and information that were given. This thing goes deep, and that's why The school system wants these children to start school so early, sitting in a classroom at the age of 5 all day doing nothing or not being active, with the exception of maybe a 30-minute recess and then some lunch. Get out of here. So anyway, I'll go down that rabbit hole if I don't stop myself. Let's proceed.
You know what I'm saying? One thing you got to realize, rich people that do real estate, they help the government build this bitch up. You got to understand, this is their land. So they're going to give tax incentives to those who got money. Because I keep trying to tell you, you can't go to war unless you got your money right.
What?
When you broke, bro, you just talking.
Hey.
You don't have the right money to go to war in America. Okay? No one's listening. Okay? Now, what I'm saying is people who got millions of dollars and got companies, construction companies, and doing real estate, they are helping America build up. You got to understand, everybody on American land, right, or American soil, you are an employee of the United States of America.
True.
You must understand that. And it don't matter what you do on the soil of America, you're helping them in some type of way. If you work fast food, you helping serve the people food that's going to keep them sick, which going to help Big Pharma. If you're a school teacher, you're helping them indoctrinate the kids. And I give a big shout out to all the real teachers that understand those curriculums ain't for them kids. And they stand up. And a lot of them will quit. But you got some, they just want a job. And I tell you, a real teacher is a person that do what you're trying to get taught every day. Not nobody that a real teacher is a person that do this, what you're trying to become. They do that every day. They don't just read out no textbook and then try to teach you. No. If you're trying to become a painter, you need to learn from a person that paint every day. That's a real teacher. But no matter what you do on American soil, you are helping them, come closer to their goals. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand.
Those are facts. So let me just expound on what he said about the trades in the school system. So I remember being in my middle school years. I remember we had home economics, we had shop, we had mechanics. They were teaching, the young men or the young boys at the time, how to use their hands and fixing and repairing cars. We used to have cars out in the back of the school, taken apart, put back together, implemented in the school curriculum as electives. By the time I got into high school, the only elective that we had left was music and sports, or PE. That was it. They took shop out. They took the mechanics out. They took the home economics out. That was my favorite class in middle school. And every time I was able to select home economics or shop as an elective, I did. That's how I was able to start working with my hands on how to fix stuff. My first cooking experiences, homemaking, sewing, all of that, until the powers that be, or the corporation, like Miss Yo so eloquently said, decided that no, we're going to take that out. And then if you want to learn it, you're going to have to pay for it. Then there's a double-edged sword on that too, because not only are you going to pay for it, but if you can't pay for it outright, then we're going to give you Sally Mae loans, and we're going to charge interest on that. So we're going to make money twice. Right? And then what happened? It started to separate the classes, right, of people that could afford it and could not afford it. Then it started to segregate the schools. It was a different type of segregation. And that's where we are with it. And so they've been very calculative and been very successful. And now just to even go get a CDL's license to drive a truck is super expensive. It's super expensive. So you spend your first, I don't know, I'm not educated enough to say how much amount of time, but I do know someone that went to school, and my mouth dropped open when I realized, and when he told me how much it actually cost to go through the classes to get a CDL's license and how long it took. Right? But he's right. Like when these kids go to school and they're going to 5 different classes, 5 to 7 different classes for an hour, and then wonder why they come home spent, exhausted, frustrated, and probably their learning capacity has been affected because you're switching from one thing to the next. Most of the time, the stuff that they're learning, they're not going to utilize in the real world anyway. So then you got to come home for parents that give a damn about the kids, or that prioritize and have the energy and the wherewithal to educate them on pertinent things that they're going to need out there in the real world. Now that's where the real education starts. Now they got to come home and go through that as well. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot for these kids, and wonder why kids don't feel like they can be kids at this point. But he's absolutely right. And you just follow the money. You just follow, everything is about the power, the control, and the money. And it's at the expense of us, right? Okay, so let's continue.
Saying you are an employee, you a citizen. I just told you earlier, what is a citizen? When you sign your users, when you become a citizen, right? You can enjoy the protection and the my mind already. You can enjoy the protection, right? And you can enjoy all the amenities as long as you're under the government's constitution. You gotta understand that. You have to understand. That's why when you go to court and they say we'll give you damn what it is, man, a public defender.
Yes.
Because you operate under their trust. You under the trust of the United States of America. If you knew anything about the Constitution, bro, you would see how this shit was written. And this is America's one of the constitutions that never hardly ever get changed. Unlike other constitutions. This shit locked in box. I told you, man, paperwork is more stronger than a gun. You got people dead making more money than you, and you alive. You got people that's dead still controlling you. You're doing what they wrote.
Ooh, boy, when you break it down like that, I don't know how to feel about that, y'all. I just don't. It's true. What you gonna do? But that's just giving it to you in plain sight. You got people that are dead, that are controlling you from the grave. The outcome and the direction of the laws, the bills, the constructs, the Constitution. That's crazy. That is crazy. I saw this. Kim Mara says our son has decided to go to a technical college and to get a trade instead of college after he graduates next year. We fully support this choice after seeing how college is indoctrinating these kids. I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same with my 16-year-old. Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, his first job, if he wants, he's insisting on, I'm trying to encourage him to start his own business. But if he wants that to get his feet wet, and he wants to see what working for someone else is like, because sometimes life will teach you what you don't want, right? And I'll support him in whatever he feels compelled to do. But it will probably it's not going to be a fast food restaurant. It's going to be someplace where he's going to get some on the job training, like maybe AutoZone, a Myers. He's really good with his hands. But whatever it is, he's going to be learning something while he's getting paid to learn it, right? On the job training and hands on. So I totally support that. I agree. And I'm implementing that in my own household, Ms. Kimar. Facts, right? He said, yep. He said it's people dead making more money than you. I know that's an eye opener, ain't it, Biz? I'm trying to tell you. I did. Whew. It's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. Let's continue.
Way back in the days, and it's still affecting you and your family to this day. This is what America is based off of. They call it the land of the free and the home of the brave. Bitch, we ain't free or brave.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
we not free or brave.
Wow.
That's why I say when you see if you go online right now, you go to ubuntuapparel.com, you will see one of the designs. It's got the Statue of Liberty on there. And it says, fuck liberty, give us freedom.
Boom.
Liberty is asking for permission.
What?
That's what liberty is.
Ooh. Liberty is asking for permission. Asking for permission. I thought this was a land of the free. Why should we have to ask for anything?
Freedom, right, is free will. Do what you want. And this is what you at war for, your mind, because they don't want you to be school takes away free will. Right. They don't teach you how to think. They teach you what to think.
True.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've seen so many things that they've done, right? Where they did this experiment where these people it was 4 of them and 2 people walked in. And when they hit the bell, they'll stand up and they'll sit down. They hit the bell, stand up, they'll sit down. The other 2 looking like, what the hell going on? By the 3rd time, all of them was standing up and sitting down. They know that if you see other people do stuff despite on how you feel, we talked about this yesterday in my video, it's called herding. Okay, when you become a part of the herd, that means you forfeit your personal beliefs for another bitch beliefs.
What?
Which is crazy. This is why when you see other young females, they see other females with the titties out, with the booty out, they getting all this attention, the likes and all this and that. They see that and they want that. And now a lot of people gonna be like, nah, that ain't me, that ain't me. We just never.
That's the power of social media. And that's why it is given to us so freely. And these cell phones and devices are given to us so readily available. And reasonably priced in some cases. I mean, not the iPhones, of course, but I'm just saying you can still get you a device and access the same information for a fraction of what these iPhones cost. So they're still accessible, and they make it that way by design, and they make it that way intentionally, right? So the herding process, quote unquote, can still be in effect, fully in effect, right?
Get to the point where we'll admit, dog, everything you do comes from them people, the same people that's oppressing you. I didn't tell you to put on makeup. Your brother didn't tell you to put on makeup. You mimic what you see. This goes for men and women, children, and everything in between. Even the animal mimic what they see. This is what they do with school. They bring us to an animal state so that we can be controlled.
Woo!
You feel me? So when you tell a motherfucker, go over there and do this, do that, and they hit the whistle. They hit the whistle. They get a dog a treat. Why you think that dog is doing that? The treat is the paycheck. A bitch will go to work every day for a boss they'll never meet. Be punctual, on time.
Yep.
And go home and get their husband all the hell in the world.
Yep.
Woo! Talking about ass backwards. So you'll go and you'll give respect to somebody through an employment opportunity. Most of the time, like he said, you don't even meet these people, but they still inadvertently get respect by you showing up on time, by you following their rules, their construct, by you doing what you're told, by you going and giving your 110%. And by the time you make it home, you ain't got nothing left but agitation, frustration, and a reason to want to fight. Because you're tired or you're tired, right? How backwards is that? That was one of the motivating factors for me to actually pursue becoming an entrepreneur. I was given way too much, in my opinion, to somebody that didn't, or a company that didn't recognize me or appreciate my efforts. I could take that same energy and that same ability and pour it into something that came from here, right? And here. Best decision I ever made. Really, it is. It's one of the best decisions. I'm not knocking nobody because I worked for other people and companies for a long time. But that goes along with me doing things to figure out what I do want and what I don't want, what worked for me and what didn't work for me, or what doesn't work for me. And having enough faith to take a leap of faith and to step out on faith in order to try something different that will not just benefit me, but my family as well and my loved ones. And in the process, teach them and give them options outside. Because my parents just showed me, no, I take that back. My father was entrepreneurial, and that's where my spirit came from. So I definitely want to correct myself on that. My mother, on the other hand, was very comfortable for working for other people and never had an interest in really pursuing anything individualistic or on her own. But so I had the best of both worlds on that. And it gave me the opportunity to be able to decide, which route I wanted to take and which would work best for me, right? Okay, so let's go on. We're almost done, y'all.
Go home, get a wife, all the hell in the world.
Yep.
That's a conditioning, bro.
Dang, bro. Think about that, bro.
That's a conditioning.
You just hit a line in the road then, bro. You book the line in the
facts.
road.
It's
You
the
go
facts,
to
the
work and
truth.
obey everything in that job say.
Listen, if I'm lying, I'm flying.
But come home and get your old man, the old woman, all the hell.
And this is why I say you have to understand. I say it all the time.
Man.
Rockefeller was one of the ones that funded the school system, right? He created the education board. His favorite quote is, "I want to create a nation of workers, not thinkers." If we teach you how to become self-sufficient, how are you going to serve us? Christopher Columbus, right, with his monk ass, ain't discovered a fuck thing.
What?
That's the biggest lie. Like I tell you, he who controls the past, he controls the future. Trust me, bro.
True.
He did not discover nothing. You must understand, bro. It was niggas already here.
Period.
Now they'll say the Indians and all that and this, that. Nigga, we was already here. You understand me? Now, what them saying, what Christopher Columbus, what they found in his diary was, when he saw the people that he said was Indians, he said all they do is smile. They're so helpful. You know what I'm saying? They are so happy. That bitch said they'll make great servants. These people, right? Like I tell y'all, are on hieroglyphics, right? With the Egyptians, when you see the circle cut out the middle, that means they don't have no bar, which is soul. These people don't have no soul, right? We talking about the devil. Ain't no damn devil in the ground. Why you think they gave us the image of a devil in a cartoon fiction so it doesn't relate to man? But they gave us Jesus in the creation of a man. I tell you, man, for my white audience, I said it again. I'm gonna say, you will never understand the trauma we go through growing up, thinking Jesus was white, walking outside seeing white people. Like you literally a young boy, you don't want to, how you will react to that, you will never feel that ever in life.
And that's continuous. They are still pushing that narrative. Whether we buy it or we don't, it is still being perpetuated in our communities, in our churches, in our sanctuaries, in our worship, places of worship. They just don't know when to quit. They'd rather grab some, if not all, than none at all. So they just keep up with the lie. And when he talks about trauma, man, I'm telling you, when there was a part, I want to say it was yesterday, where he was talking about, he was referring to single parent homes with single moms, particularly being in survivor mode to the point where when a man or a potential companion comes into her life, she's not very trusting. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that she has been in survival mode for so long that now she don't really trust anybody, right, but herself. Okay, so all of that goes hand in hand. I don't know why I went with that, but to me it was relatable, right? So just a couple more minutes, and then there's another small clip of a video. It's an educational video, but it is powerful enough that even in spite that we've been on here about an hour and a half, it's only an 8-minute video. I'm not going to interrupt it much. I'm pretty much going to let it play and hope that, it goes smoothly. And then we're going to get up out of here, right? So hopefully y'all are gaining edification. And even if you know some of this information, hopefully you're hearing something that is new and informative that you can definitely pass along. If you can share this stream, go subscribe and sub up to Papa Duck. If you haven't tapped the like button, please do that. I did want to take a moment. Hopefully she's still in the chat. Miss Rachel Banks, thank you for the financial blessing. I really appreciate that. That was very kind of you. Thank you so very much for the Cash App. Peace and blessings, right, to you. I appreciate you. Okay, so just a couple more minutes on this, you guys, and then we're going to go to that next video, and then we're going to get up on out of here.
Wow.
That's some powerful shit. Wow. And then to this day, it affects us. going to grandma's house, seeing that on the wall. Then you walk outside, dude right there look like Jesus. So we gotta obey. He's superior.
Bro, this deep.
You feel me? But that's how they can control you symbolically, right? And like I say, most people that go to church, they don't know. They don't. We're gonna break that down too right quick.
It's like a phone call. Look at the phone calls in here. It's top of the phone call, man. Y'all hit the number on the bottom of the screen, man.
Oh yeah, hit the number on the screen.
Okay, so that we're gonna conclude that video. That was powerful. I really enjoyed it to the point where I had to really make this into 2 parts. So we're gonna go right into the second video, y'all. When I tell you, just hang with me on this. This is going to be a lot of information. It goes super deep, okay? But this is super powerful, right? So just bear with me. Let's roll.
Ah, the government. It loves you and wants to keep you safe and well. It even wants to make paying taxes, fines, and court costs easier for you. How? Well, you'll need to meet your straw man. He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking ticket for taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day 1. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So there is a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oops-a-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever.
I had to stop that there because we need to educate our people that when you are stopped by a police officer and they vocalize that they're detaining you and they read you your rights, they are by law required to ask you if you understand. You need to understand fully that if you agree and say yes, that you have just established a binding verbal contract. And now that most police officers have video and body cams, now it's not even a verbal contract anymore. It's a visual contract as well as verbal. So it's binding in court. So you need to understand that, realize that, and know your rights and know what you are agreeing to when you answer them. They are banking on the fact that you are uneducated about any of this. And this is why I'm showing this video. Let's continue.
Government. Did you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Registered your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well, then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like we have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state. And if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? Then it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead and just a silly piece of paper, created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man. So you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man, or legal personality, is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy.
It is all interconnected. All of it's interconnected. They catch you coming and going. There's you can't circumvent it, and it's pretty much airtight, and they perfected it over time to the point where even if you do find a loophole, they cut you off at the knees by silencing your voice and making you feel as if your voice does not have any power, because in their world of legalese and court systems, it does not. So this part here, it gets really interesting. I'm going to actually slow it down because he gives a lot of information on okay. All right, El Boogie. Listen, if you have information on how to remove that straw man in court and people attempting to claim sovereignty, that's information that is very valuable. I'll drop the link when it's all said and done. We're almost through this video, but I want to put emphasis. I'm going to, like I said, slow this down and put it on normal and really pay attention, because he's going to break down the application. This gentleman was able to get his application that his parents filled out for his birth certificate. He had to go through some measures in order to get this. This was not something he was able to retrieve easily, or originally it wasn't made readily available, right? So let's proceed and pay attention, really close attention.
This is a certified true copy of my live statement of birth. You can get this by applying for it at the Registrar General. They'll give it to you. And it's very interesting, because this is where it all began. This is the foundation document. All identification is generated from this document. And so if the foundation document is no good, anything that's made from it is no good. That means driver's licenses, health cards, everything. Now what they did here, this is exactly what he meant when he said, soon every American will be required to register their biological property. Now, your parents didn't realize what they were doing when they filled this out, and these didn't exist before 1933. Birth records were recorded in scripture, and these only came into being in 1933 when they hatched this plan. They created a corporate fiction with a name just like yours. In doing this, they registered and monetized the spirit and soul of a living being.
Man, listen. Okay? They monetized the soul and the spirit of a living being. It started out as a concept that they implemented while probably people back then were being distracted with other stuff or trying to survive on that hamster wheel, to where they didn't have the time, the energy, or the ability to focus, or the knowledge and the information. Because this is coming out, like he said, this was established back in 1933. We're in 2024. That's almost 100 years later. And this information is now being released to the masses, or being readily available to the masses. Let's continue.
This denotes ownership. And when your parents were tricked into filling this out, they allowed your spirit and your soul to be monetized. And futures were sold on you.
Spirit and soul.
Now, this is my birth certificate. This is actually a share. See this red number? This A, I'm born in Canada. This is a Class A share. Now, this is called a CUSP number. And all securities require a CUSP number. And that's what this is. and you are held as collateral to secure the debt which our government owes to international bankers. So you and me and all these people here are actually collateral, and we don't even own our lives. We are chattel.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I know that the visual in the video quality, you can't really see it, but that looked like a social security card. And it aligns with what he said. Once you're issued a social security card, you are considered collateral for the government, right? You don't own your likeness, you don't own your identity. It aligns with, it kind of reminds me and resonates with what Kwame says, that you have to go through the process of trademarking your name. Like, say, if you have a child that's gifted biz in a sport, in order to protect their likeness and them to maintain control over their likeness, that their name needs to be trademarked, right? So you have to literally fight in order to have any type of say over your own identity, which I think is just, it is what it is, but it's crazy to me. So let's continue. We're almost done.
And we believe we're free. I made an application to the Registrar General, and I got my original social insurance application. Now, before they sent it to me, they put a little piece of paper over this before they photocopied it, because my friend has his and they didn't block this out. And when you hold it up, you see Bank of Canada. It is said that the best slaves are the ones who don't know that they're enslaved. And we all have invisible chains on us, and we don't know it.
What truth? That you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste.
I wanted that to play, but I don't want to get copyrighted. So it's just a clip of the Matrix movie where he was saying that, reiterating what the gentleman said, that you're a slave, doesn't even know he's a slave most of the time, and live as a slave. They're not even understanding that that's what this is at this point. So with that being said, I thought that that was powerful. I didn't add this video into the description, but once the live is over, I will be putting that in there as well. Please go and check this out. It's a short video, but it's worth going back through it and then stopping it in interims or intervals in order to be able to digest this information, because like Miss Yo Thought said in the chat, words mean something. They have power, and every part of the English dialect comes from an origin, and it has a specific meaning that is attached to its origin. And we need to know that. We can't continue to be super cavalier about our dialect and about the words that we use without understanding that that yields consequences, whether it's directly or indirectly. Words cast spells. We have to be mindful of that as well. And so with that being said, I'm just going to move right along. I'm going to drop the link. It is open to anybody that wants to come up, has anything to add value of. I know other people want to go live, but I do want to at least open the forum because there was a lot of information that was given today, and I welcome feedback always. So if no one does come up in the next few moments, then I'll go ahead and end the live and we can move on with our day. So yes, salute King Mills. Thank you for coming in. So for those that actually have not been able to come in at the beginning of the live, it is worth it. This is a part 2 to a 2-part video series, and it's a reaction to the Legalese system that Papa Duck and I did a reaction video, or 2 reaction videos to his podcast discussing the Legalese system. And if you don't know what that is, please, it's worth going back to the first video to get a good understanding and a good definition of what it is. And then following that, there's an explanation to expound on it, right? Um, King Mill says, I appreciate you and this power you sharing. Amen. Well, good. I am so glad. Thank you. Hey, Bolo. What's up, boo? What's up? Thank you, King.
Hi, hi, Mr. Kimi. How you doing?
All is well. Good to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just, wanted to come up and give you your flowers. Excellent content. This is definitely type of information that we need to, salute and share and get it out there. The people are the ones that are the ones that push this type of information. Unfortunately, the cooperation, like y'all mentioned, does not want this type of information to go out because it's going to empower people. And they don't want that. And you should not expect them to. So I just want to salute you and encourage the people that are watching to, do your part and share this type of information. And I also want to take the time out to salute Biz. Also, both of y'all are doing, powerful work here on YouTube. So salute to you, man.
As you, Bolo. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. I was talking about there was a excerpt in the panel in the video where Papa Duck was saying that the Chinese have pretty much taken over and they're now dominating Jamaica, and it resonated with me, the political and the civil unrest that's going on in Jamaica, and the highlighting that you're doing. And please go sub up to Bolo VNR. Go check out his videos. He breaks it down. He reacts to it. He explains it. He brings awareness to the political temperature that is going on in such a season with with the elections and stuff going on. And definitely you want to be educated, because again, I will reiterate that if it's going on there, it definitely isn't far from possibly planting its feet here in this country as well.
It's funny you should talk about the Chinese. I mean, they did it exactly how, the brother Papa Duck was mentioning it. They come here first. Like the first time they came here, they'll have a one business and they live in the same place that the business is at. 10 of them, 6 of them, it doesn't matter. They live in the same place, no matter how small it is. And they build that business up until they get another area close to where they're at. And now they have 2 businesses in the same town. And now there's more Chinese coming in from overseas, living in that spot. And that's how they keep doing it. They have one vehicle, all of them drive, all of them go out together. They don't buy 10 cars. They don't do that.
See?
If you look at them, they always traveling in groups, and that's if they even go out. That's if they even go out. They stay within themselves. They stay within their traditions. And this is why they are in the position of power that they are. And us as a people really need to own in on that and take notes. I say again, after the Hiroshima bombing, look at how these people were moving and look at where they're at right now. It was the most quiet war in history, and they have won it.
There is a book that he referenced, and I'm going to order it today. It's called Silent. Oh, goodness. Oh, help me. I know somebody knows. Silent War, Quiet something. Somebody can put it in the chat if you are aware of it. No, definitely. And it resonates with what, and you just said it, that's how they won. And that's because we're not aware of the strategies, right? And by the time we are made aware of the strategy, the war is over.
Exactly. And I don't even know that book, but I do know that historically after that situation, these people went on the most quiet strategic war, and they did not lift a weapon, and they have won. They are winning.
Silent
Right?
weaponry for
Yep.
deadly. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think it's is that it, Andre? Are you 100%? Hey, Andre. Salute. Hey, silent weapons, quiet wars. Okay, that's what it is. Hey, CX, welcome. Peace and blessings to y'all for coming in and coming through. Thank you. Good to see you as always. So, silent weapons for quiet wars. Yes, I will be ordering that book today from Amazon myself because he mentioned that a few times during his podcast, and this is not the only time I've heard it. So it definitely is resonating in my spirit to go ahead and get that. So, hey Miss Yo, hey El Boogie, how are you, Miss Yo Thoughts? You out the garden? You done?
Hey everybody, yes, I'm out the garden. And listen, Mr. Kimmy, you be cracking me up. I be wanting to say stuff. I'm stopping in between the garden, wiping my hands, texting in the chat. I mean, this is such a deep, heavy conversation. This is my type of talk, okay?
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I'm really enjoying this live stream for sure. Yes.
Good.
Um, who is it? Hey Bolo. Hey everybody in the chat. And
Salute to you, Miss Your Thoughts, El Boogie. Salute, brother.
Yeah.
hey
Salute.
baby.
How you doing? How y'all doing?
Go ahead, El Boogie. I'm gonna go on mute because you know my mouth go like this. So I'm gonna go on mute so you can talk, okay, baby?
No, no, ma'am. You're fine. How y'all doing today? Missy Kimi Bolo. It's your
Salute.
thoughts. No salute to you all.
Likewise. Thank you for being here. Yes, I saw your comment in the chat and I'm going on mute because I already know you getting ready to drop something.
Uh, yes, ma'am. What I will say is I'm not fully educated in that field, right? But I do know people that take it upon themselves within, I'll say, like religious societies. They attempt to create their sovereignty within the United States of America. That way, that they're no longer considered a citizen, which means that they no longer have to conduct themselves, like paying taxes and things of that nature. I do have friends that are still attempting to get these things done. But what I do know about it is that you do have to go through the court system to get it taken care of, and they say it's a lot of paperwork and it's a lot of research that you have to conduct. So it's just all about educating yourself and getting the most information you can about the subject.
Hey, let me just interject. That's true, El Boogie. The Amish people take a page out of their book and you'll understand how to follow the blueprint. I'm going on mute.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Definitely. No, just the fact that there is information out there and a possibility to be able to deny, well, I don't want to know if I want to use that word, but to give them back their citizenship, in other words, is powerful, right? Because and the paperwork is definitely convoluted, thick, and heavy because they want to discourage you from doing so, because now you are not their slave anymore.
Yes, ma'am. And if I may say something, there was an artist. He's a rapper, and he made a statement about how a lot of us are not claiming our nationalities. So a lot of us are walking around calling ourselves Black people, and that's not considered a nationality. So
Right.
the one thing you have to first connect to, of course, is like how people say they're Indians, they're indigenous to the American continent. If they can go back and trace that, that's how a lot of people claim their sovereignty as well.
Mhm. Very good point. That's very powerful. I've been watching some plays of Dane Calloway, and he focuses heavy on that as well. And it really plays a part in the paperwork, particularly for the submission of paperwork for reparations. Because what you said is Black is not considered a nationality. And so there's a lot of wordplay, like when California was going through that possibility of putting a bill on the floor for considering reparations to their to their qualified population in California. That was actually one of the questions on there, and it was like a trick question because the word Black was not considered a nationality, and you had to um, present paperwork to connect and to substantiate your nationality in order for any of you or your family members to qualify to possibly be able to receive reparations.
Yeah, I want to come off mic for 1 second just to say this. We are the only people that have been called different names, like to be identified. I was born in 1962. Okay, so as a Black person, so called, I was called the N word, the derogatory term, then the upgraded term with the the other one with the A on it. Then I was called Black, colored. I was called all these things, and now we are Black. So which one is it? We are the only nationality that has been called or labeled different names throughout our history. Everybody else has their name and stayed the same. We're the only ones that's been updated, upgraded. And you all in the audience need to ask yourself the question, why? Going on mute.
No, for real. Now that's into uncharted waters for me. I don't know if I have anything additional to add in certainty on that because that rabbit hole goes deep as well. And you know, you have a lot of, like you just said, Miss Yo, you have a different various groups that have different ideologies and opinions about their belief system on how we got to be where we are, what they're classified as, what the origin, what they believe the origin is. And so to me, it has bred some confusion amongst the community collectively. And I think that's also by design because it depends on the research, depends on how convicted you are, how big your voice is, how far your reach goes. There's a different components that are involved. So I think like with a lot of other things, it's subjective, right? So I just want to take a moment, say thank you, Bolo, for coming up on the panel. I got your message. Appreciate you. Much love, babes, and thank you for always coming up and contributing to the live. You are just such a blessing, and I appreciate you. We appreciate you. So he says salute to everybody on the panel as well.
Yep, salute, Bolo. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. The only reason why I brought that up is because I brought that up, and yes, I agree with you, Mr. Kimi, that rabbit hole does go deep. That's why I suggested that everybody go and find out for themselves why, and come to the conclusion for themselves, why have this particular group of people been called so many different titles or labels or names as a nationality, wherein other nationalities have been called whatever they are, and it's been there for centuries. They are still what they are. So that should give them motivation enough to do some digging into their own history, or for their own satisfaction, to find out why is that so. Okay. Once they dig into that, as you said, that rabbit hole will go deeper and deeper, and they will ask themselves more questions, which would lead to the answers that will soothe their soul, right? And so in their sense of knowing who they are. That's why I mentioned that. Okay.
Yes.
And then I want to say one more thing, then I'm going to get off. Okay. I want to say we as a people are tribal, like I said, and you highlighted the comment. We was always together as a people, living in one home, living underneath one roof, right? Okay. But the society has taught us that we want more, or we should have more. We should have the car. We should have the big houses. We should have all this and branch off. But here goes the word. Together, united, we are stronger.
Yes.
Divided, we fall.
Yes.
But we, as a group of people that was born in a tribal society, tried to do something new. They got us to want what they want, what they believe in, as to be the American dream. But in this life, all nationalities, the only thing you need to live and survive peaceably is food, water, and shelter. All the rest of that stuff is extra. The cars, we used to walk.
Yep.
The telephones, we had ways of communication. We could listen to the ground and tell you who was where and who was walking where.
Do you remember the string with the two cans?
Yes, ma'am. Indeed.
That worked.
Indeed, before any cell phones. So
Yeah.
it's a whole lot of ways to be able to communicate with what smoke signals and
Yes.
some more stuff. Drums,
Eagles, the birds, you could,
drums,
yep,
pigeons, they flip pigeons, all
pigeons.
kinds of stuff.
Yep.
We
That's
don't
it.
need all that extra stuff. We've been taught to want that. I'm just trying to tell y'all we need to go back to the basics of what's really important. And what is important to have a nice, peaceful life is to be able to have food, anything you want to eat, water, something to drink to keep you hydrated and and your spirits elevated, and shelter, a peaceful place to lay your head. You are not supposed to work from sun up to sundown. This world
Absolutely.
and nature is for us to be here to enjoy it. You're supposed to be able to take the time to, what they say, smell the roses. Listen to some of the stuff that they tell you. You're supposed to be able to watch and see how the ant moves because you are nature. You are part of that. Don't lose sight of who you are. And if you don't know who you are, go back and find it and pass it on to the next generation. Now, without that, without what I just said, all of that, now I'm going. I'm gonna leave y'all with that, okay?
Appreciate
Peace,
you.
everybody.
Salute,
Thank
your
you,
Peace.
Miss
dog.
Joe. All
I
right.
enjoyed you, Mr. Kima. Great live stream. Keep it
Likewise.
going, sis. Keep it
Thank
going.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Yes. If there's anything else, El Boogie, I'm here to listen. If not, I appreciate you and we can close this thing and wind it down.
Yes, man. I would like to say one more thing.
Absolutely. Take your time.
If we can just
You in the matrix.
bounce, learn to create your own bilateral agreements. You know what I mean?
Hold on. El Boogie, you in the matrix, babe. You gonna have to can you hear me okay?
Business and
Can you hear me? Oh, and I know it was good. Come on now. Gotta get a signal. Where you at? Can you hear me, El Boogie? Oh, he in the matrix. Salute, no drama, no problem. Yes, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming in. Hey, Miss Ann, thank you so much for the Cash App and the financial blessing. You are so sweet. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. I just wanted to definitely give thanks for that. That was very nice. Thank you. Not really sure if he wants to come back. I'll drop the link one more time in case he gets a good signal. I'll go ahead and wrap up in case he does not. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming in. Hold on. I got something in the private chat. Hold on. Okay, got it. I gotta do better at reading that. I see you. Okay, all right, Bolo. Um, um, forgot what I said. Okay, no, you good. All right, El Boogie. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contribution. I appreciate your comment and your enlightenment. And sharing, your personal experience with your friends going through the court process of what did it call it? Sovereignty, right? Now, that's new for me. That's something definitely I want to investigate more and do some research on because, options are good. Whether you exercise them or you don't, to have the information is always a blessing. And that type, like he said, with the paperwork, though, that's by design to try to discourage you from going through the process because it gives them the ability to be able to nitpick, right, and disqualify you from the process if everything is not aligned just the way that they want it aligned. And it definitely isn't going to be to your benefit most of the time, right? So with that being said, no, oh, you're fine. I appreciate all of y'all. I'm just glad you're here. One more attempt to say that if just in case you might have forgotten to tap that like button, I would appreciate it if you do it on your way out or your way in. If you have not been able to view the entire live, this is part of a two-part video series. The first part was yesterday. They're both titled pretty much the same, a part one and a part two. There's a lot of great information in it. You can share the stream with somebody that you think would appreciate and benefit from the information provided. If you you go through the videos and you're blessed by it and you learn something, definitely share it with somebody else as well. I don't do really long outros. So I'm going to wrap up and say thank you for everybody for being here. I appreciate y'all. You gave me the most valuable thing that you have, and that's your time along with your ear. And thanks to all of my mods, for everybody that participated in the chat, the people that tapped the like button from the bushes. I'm grateful for all of you. And with that being said, I am going, yeah, don't feel bad. Please don't. You look, you show up and you show out. And you're, like I say, your presence is more than enough. And it's just as equally appreciated. So please don't. I appreciate you, and that's I say it a lot, but I say it because it's heartfelt, right? Kelvin H, thank you. Yes, salute. Eric McDonald, thank you for being here for everybody. And with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, the rest of their day. Get out and get some sun. Do something with some family members. Go out for a walk. Go hiking somewhere. Go get near some water. Get away from, because I'm getting ready to do that too, and I'm been faulty and guilty of it as well, sitting in front of these screens for long periods of times. But we have to balance ourselves out. We have to reground ourselves, and we can't do that sitting in front of a computer all day. Give somebody that you love some of your time and energy, even if it's just a couple of hours before you get back into the groove of YouTube or whatever it is that you like to do in front of your screens, right? So I just wanted to add that. Peace and blessings to everybody, and we're gonna go ahead and slide up on out of here. All right, I see y'all.